Let me ask you guys this. Would you rather own a high-grade Copper Age book or a low-grade Silver Age book? Next up on the Hot 10 Breakdown of the Week. Welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher.
So let's jump right into it.
We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Boom! What is up, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another Hot 10 Breakdown of the Week. If you guys aren't familiar with this, I take the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app, and I break them down for you guys, letting you know which I'm buying, and of course which I'm staying away from. But before we get started, like every video, I remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button. I'm giving away something awesome once we get to 7,000 subs. I also need you to smash that like button for me because it does help the channel out. And with that said, guys, you know, if you're not following me on Instagram or on Twitter, click the links below. One other thing, I told you guys this last time, me and a partner of mine are now looking for collections to buy. So if you're looking to get rid of some books, especially larger collections, we are definitely interested. Just email me in the description of this video. With all that out of the way, let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting off the list this week is a nice Silver Age key. It is a copy of X-Men number 12 and the first appearance of the Juggernaut. And we just had a CGC 6.0 that just sold last week for $930, up 4% over that average. Then we had a CGC 5.0 sale of $750, up 16% over the average. I really love this book. Juggernaut is one of my favorite X-Men villains, and I gotta be honest, this book is really starting to catch fire a little bit over the past 6 months. To me, do I want to own a copy of this book? Yes. Am I willing to pay up about $600 to $700 just to own it? Me, probably not. However, I will say this, if I can get one around a 4.0, possibly a 3.5, 4.5, that's the grade that I personally are looking to buy. But hey, if you're an X-Men fan, it's a must-own book. I'm giving this one my blessing. At the 9th spot this week is a copy of Batman number 423 and this iconic cover by the great Todd McFarlane. And last week we just had a sale of a CGC 9.8 of $2,199, but up only 1% over the average. Then we also had a CGC 8.0 sale of $189, up 27% over the average. Here's another case of the average being higher in a lower grade book. You guys know I love this cover. Todd is one of my favorite artists out there, but there's no way in hell I'm spending $2,200 on a 9.8 copy, no matter how awesome this book is. Hey, you want to spend $150 all the way up to $200 to own a lower grade, that's up to you, but for me, I just don't want to do it. Falling to number 8 this week is a copy of Wolverine number 88 and the first battle between Wolverine and Deadpool. And last week, we just had a CGC 9.6 deluxe edition sell for $195, up 13% over the average. I believe a 9.6 last week was $212, so can we see this book drop a little bit? Yes, I told you guys this last week. I really love this book, but I don't want to spend the money it's going for. I think you can still find this book for around $20 to $50 in the raw form in a nice grade if you want to own it. I can't see spending $200 plus on a 9.6. I don't need to own a slab right here of this book. Back on the list at number 7 this week is a copy of Godzilla number 1 and the first ongoing series published by the US market, and a CGC 9.8 that just sold last week for $485, up 14% over the average. I'm surprised to see this book back on the list so quickly. I'm hearing that Godzilla movie is absolutely awesome. I am looking forward to finally seeing it when I get a chance, but regardless, do I want to spend $500 on a 9.8 copy of this book? Probably not. I always put these type of books in the nostalgia category, and I don't want to pay up for them. I think around $100 to $150 is where you see spending the money for this type of book. So for me, I'm staying away. Coming in at number 6 is a brand new book to this list. It is a copy of Fantastic Four number 209 and the first appearance of Herbie the Robot, and a CGC 9.8 that just sold last week for $350, up a whopping 52% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.0 sale of only $67, up an insane 46% over the average. We all know why this book is so hot. We all saw that picture they put out of the new Fantastic Four cast, and of course, who was on it? Herbie, nonetheless. Am I going out and spending $350 on a 9.8? Hell no, but I will say this. If you want to spend up to $50 on this book just to own it, he is a very cool character, and I think this book should be owned. With that said, it's up to you if you want to decide if you want to spend the money or not, but for me, I just can't do it. If I can find a cheap copy still, that's what I'd be buying. Coming in at number 5 this week is another awesome cover. It is a copy of Wolverine number 8 and this iconic cover by the great John Buscema. And we just had a CGC 9.8 that just sold last week for $336, up 8% over the average. Of course, we all saw that trailer for Deadpool 3, and I'm actually shocked this book wasn't on the list last week. Do I want to own this book? Yes, I absolutely love this cover, and we do think patch is coming to Deadpool 3. Regardless, am I paying up over $300 to own a 9.8? Hell no. I consistently see this book at my LCS for around $20 to $35, and that's really what I want to spend. Awesome cover, not an awesome price at high grade. At the 4th spot this week is what else? It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 210 and the first appearance of Madam Web. And we just had a CGC 9.8 that just sold last week for $890, up 16% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.0 sale of $180, up 22% over the average. How the hell is anyone still buying this book after seeing that Madam Web movie? It was on my recent video of books I would stay the hell away from right now. This book is about to crash. I don't know why Key Collector is saying that this book is still going up in value, and I don't know who the hell is paying up for these copies right here, right now. Regardless, dump this book if you own it, or else stay the hell away from it if you don't. Falling from the top spot for 2 weeks in a row down to number 3 is a copy of New Mutants 98 and the first appearance of Deadpool, the Merc with the Mouth. And we just had a CGC 9.6 that just sold last week for $620, up 14% over the average. Then we also had a CGC 9.6 newsstand copy sell for $750, up 2% over the average. You guys know how I feel about this book. I only want to own it in a 9.8 with white pages. Hell, even with that new Deadpool label, only for the fact that there are so many copies of this book out there. If you just want to own the book, buy the grade that you could afford and keep it in the collection. Other than that, I'm definitely staying away from this book right now. Even at 9.8, I still think this book is dropping. We'll see what happens after Deadpool 3 comes out. At number 2 this week is another classic cover. It is a copy of Wolverine number 1 and this iconic cover by the great Frank Miller. This is also the first appearance of Yukio. And last week we just got a sale of a CGC 9.8 of $680, up 2% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.0 sale of $175, up a whopping 21% over the average. Last week in a 9.8, this book sold for $780. This week down to $680. I've said a while back for a 9.8, if you must own one, I stick between $500 and $550, but I don't think you need to spend that kind of money. Anywhere between $100 and $150 just to own the book because you love Frank Miller and you love Wolverine. Enough said, I'm staying away from this one right now unless you can get a deal on it. And at the top spot this week and back at number 1, guess what it is? It is a copy of Uncanny X-Men number 130 and the first appearance of Dazzler. This is also the second appearance of Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. And we just had a CGC 9.8 sell last week for $2,137, shattering last week's record, up 35% over that average. Then we had a CGC 7.0 sale of only $185, up another 41% over that average. God damn, how many Taylor Swift fans do we have out there? This book will not die. It gives up the top spot 1 week and it's right back at that spot a couple of weeks later. Hell no, I'm staying away from this book. It is not worth it at these prices. Wait till after Deadpool 3 comes out and then decide for yourself if you want to pay up for it. For me, I just can't do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. Another great one. Some of the same books, some of the same crap. With that said, it is now time for my best buy of the week, and since I only gave one book a thumbs up, I'm calling it X-Men number 12 and the first appearance of the Juggernaut. I've always loved this book. Just find the grade that you want to own and make sure you want to own it for the long term. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.